What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lobster and Beer TV. We have a very special episode for you guys today. We have the Edge of NFT guys on the show. Incredible conversation. Learned so much about NFTs. Excited to bring that to you. But before we jump into it, they introduced us to this company called Hot Sauce Pepper Party. So this episode is brought to us by Hot Sauce Pepper Party.
It's a pepper party.
It's the first hot sauce NFT that allows someone to craft their very own hot sauce and is backed by one of the largest hot sauce companies in the United States.
Wait, you're telling me I could have my own hot sauce?
You could. Can you imagine like a Big Al's hot sauce?
I mean, that would be spicy. Now, how do I get my hot sauce?
These 3D animated party peppers have over 250 traits that also double as ingredients. Collecting 3 peppers lets you craft your own hot sauce recipe, which is then turned into a real hot sauce. The creator of the hot sauce receives the first 3 cases, and the rest goes up for sale on the Hot Sauce Pepper Party marketplace, where the profits are split between the holder and the community.
I believe that means everybody's making some money.
Yes, sir. Right now, the Hot Sauce Pepper Party Discord is giving away a unique bottle of hot sauce every day for a whole year to celebrate the creation of one of the first Web3 spaces for those that love fire and flavor.
I believe that's 300.
So if you want to check them out, hit the Discord link right here. Their website's in the bio. Now let's get into the episode with the voice from Edge of NFT. Woo! Woo!
Let's go! 'Cause it brings us all together for a night we all remember. The kind of times we want to last forever. An unforgettable experience. Moments spent with all our friends, gathering around the dinner table.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Lobster and Beer TV. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. Today's guests are the host of the #1 NFT podcast in the universe, Edge of NFT. Josh Krieger and Jeff Kelly are serial entrepreneurs and co-founders of Main Chain Ventures, leveraging their experience as seasoned, venture-backed entrepreneurs to help companies build in the food, fashion, wellness, and crypto industries. Ethan Janney is the CEO of Piano Technicians Masterclasses and has a PhD in neuroscience. Do you have a PhD in neuroscience? Yeah, I didn't think so. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, coming to us live with a lobster and a beer, Ethan Janney, Jeff Kelly, and Josh Krieger.
Nice.
Hey man, we have to step out of our intros. Like they're putting us to shame here.
We never get to be introed ourselves. You know what I mean? Like it's good. It's an honor.
Guys, I'm a huge fan of the pod. When my attention was first brought to the NFT space, I Googled NFT podcasts. Podcasts are where a lot of us these days take in information and learn. And you guys were the first one to come up on Google. I happened to dive into one about with Steve Aoki as a guest, who I'm a huge fan of. I work in the music space, and I was like, these are the tastemakers in NFTs. It was really special for me to dive into it. And since then, man, you guys have been the information upload for me in this space. And so I'm excited to dive into the world of NFTs with you. But before we do that, as always, we have a lobster roll sitting in front of us. Josh, you brought a very special ingredient to this. So tell us about what you decided to add to the lobster roll today.
Okay, so this was fun, guys. So originally when we were planning this out, immediately what came to mind is this like amazing truffle hot sauce that my girlfriend and I discovered called Truffle. It's delicious. Was going to mix that with some mayo, butter up some bread with some garlic and call it a day. But then I was hanging out at ETH Denver at a party we were throwing called Hydra. And this party was special because there's this blimp flying around the party, dropping NFTs and money down to people. And, it was a little chaotic. So I went upstairs to this, one more private area. And I'm, a lot of people like to tell us what they're doing in the space. They see the hat. So this guy, Tony, came over and or socializing, and he was sharing that he was doing a special sort of NFT project around hot sauces, and that he has this great hot sauce company. They've shipped hot sauces all over the world. I was like, do you have a hot sauce that would like taste good with some lobster? Like, I'm trying to think of like some way to like, spice it up, because like Jeff and I were co-owners of this food company. If I'm going to come on to a show and sort of throw down, I wanted to do something different, and FGF, freaking great food. That's what life is about. So Tony was like, I've got some great seafood hot sauces. When is this a thing? I'm like, it's Tuesday. It's like Friday night. We're drinking. He's like, I'm going to ship you out some hot sauces tomorrow. Done. And so shout out to Tony. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about it, but it's Tony Wild. And he's got this NFT drop coming, the Hot Sauce Pepper Party, which is a hot sauce PP generative collection. And it's going to be coming up in the spring. So quite apropos for the Lobster and Beer show that this happened. And Tony sent us 3 sauces, and they were all good, but the clear winner, and this is from a master hot sauce maker, Kajan's, was this black garlic hot sauce. I think it pairs really well with the sort of heat and the truffle and the mayo. And we'll see what you guys think.
Yeah, we're gonna dive in. Ethan and Jeff, I apologize that you guys don't get to indulge in this right now, but
Josh is gonna cut up his servings and share and send them to us in Chicago and Florida. Prepared to give it a try.
I'll send you an NFT of it in my full belly.
There you go. Awesome.
Oh wow.
Oh man.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I've never had a spicy lobster roll, but I don't know what the world has been missing. This thing is freaking delicious.
Got a great taste. I'm already starting to sweat a little bit. So
I was so excited that you brought hot sauces on, because every time we've done it before, this dude, I'll look to my right in the next 10 minutes, he's going to be dripping sweat. I love it. Well, I want to keep taking bites of this, so I'm going to ask you guys some questions so I don't have to talk. Before we really take a deep dive into NFTs and talk about what you guys have been a part of for the past year, I'd like to give our listeners who potentially have never heard of NFTs, Web3, blockchain technology, a little 101 information. So whichever you want to take it, just give us a quick 101 breakdown of what NFTs are and what excites you about them.
Yeah, I've been into cryptocurrency just sort of, I would call it weekly since it began. I learned about what it was back in 2009, and tried to implement it in my business, but there were a lot of barriers. And I think now seeing what's going on now, you can see there's momentum, there's an infrastructure, there's communities, all this stuff, which makes it more exciting. But I think it was about 2015 or so, I started doing this project where I would ask people to make an investment in me. And it was, I didn't really know what to do with it. It was a very intuitional kind of project, pseudo art project, pseudo business project, but usually it was on the order of like $1 or something, $10, $100, maybe something like that. First guy invested 4 quarters. And what's interesting is I was inspired by a guy, which I don't know if I mentioned the last time I talked about this, who actually used to draw currency on paper. And he would pay for his bill with it sometimes. He'd like draw a $20 bill. The waitress would come. He'd say, hey, would you like my piece of art that looks like a $20 bill? Would you like a real $20 bill? You choose whichever you want. She'd take let's say she takes the art. He'd go, okay, I need $1.50 change, just like I would if I give you a real 20, give me the receipt. And the whole thing turned into art. It was an art, but it was currency. And so I was somewhat inspired by that those dollar bills that were invested in me were not now really currency anymore. They were now artifacts. Now they were art. And the important part about it for the project is I'd take a photo with the individual that made the investment, and the bill had to show the serial number in that photo. And what's interesting about that is that if you think about the fact that every dollar bill has a serial number and has a unique serial number, dollar bills, even though we think of them as, the most basic unit of a fungible token, I mean, you could give me your dollar, I give you my dollar, it doesn't matter. Those serial numbers, in essence, actually have given the potential to be non-fungible, make each of those items unique. And then what I realized I was doing, this is before I knew anything about NFTs, and there was not much buzz about NFTs at that point. I was taking fungible tokens, right, that could be traded among each other, and turning them into non-fungible tokens, very unique items that had something important attached to them. So I think that story gives people the essence of what makes an NFT, versus say FT or something like that. It's a unique item. And then on top of that, there's all these other things baked in that have a lot to do with, computers and programming, things like that. We can make these smart contracts. Each NFT is kind of like a little supercomputer where we can program in not just who owns it, not just unique facets and factors of it, but interesting things that will happen to that digital item over time, or when something triggers this or triggers that, or gets connected to that, or gets mixed with this or that. So there's a whole new world attached to all this stuff, in addition to them being not fungible.
What are some of your favorite creations that you've seen with digital contracts, and what do you see in the future that could necessarily change certain industries with digital contracts?
So the sort of 100,000-pound gorilla is Ethereum, right? It's by far the most used protocol for writing smart contracts, and you can use Ethereum to mint an NFT, which then is permanently recorded on the blockchain. But there's quite a lot of additional platforms that are sort of tied to that. So just to go back a little bit more, you got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the OG. It sort of changed everyone's perspective on sort of a fully transparent, open, decentralized ledger. Ethereum allows you to create contracts on top of Bitcoin. But there are now a lot of other sort of either blockchain technologies or blockchain-like technologies that allow you to also mint in a way that's open and transparent, or sometimes even secret. So you've got Harmony, you've got Polygon, you've got Solana, you've got the Secret Network, you've got Avalanche, and you've got Scale. You've got, we just had Phantom on the show today, which is a super cool, very fast chain that people don't always know about. So essentially, years ago there was just Ethereum, and everything was done on Ethereum. And Ethereum is amazing. One of our members of our team just met Vitalik in person at ETH Denver, and he's a legend. But there's some reasons why you might want to use another chain, whether it's different types of use cases. Like one is gaming. There's a lot of actions in gaming, and Ethereum has a pretty complex computational sort of means to confirm that work has been done and sort of confirm a transaction, where maybe for a game where you're doing multiple transactions per second, you need something that's a little bit lighter lift, and that's where Solana comes in for one game that's really popular, Star Atlas, and that's where other games like DeFi Kingdoms are being done on Harmony or Avalanche. So, what you're doing with your NFT and why you're creating NFTs has a lot to do with what chain that you choose. But, at the end of the day, there's a lot of different cool ways that you can use NFTs in different sort of use cases, from gaming to metaverses to collectibles to sports and entertainment. The video streaming and video applications of NFTs are just sort of at the forefront. So there's a lot more to it than these little JPEGs that everyone likes to talk about. These crazy use cases where someone, bought a JPEG for millions of dollars. The news doesn't really cover the practical and ubiquitous use cases for NFTs, which is why we do the show.
Yeah, but to give you an example of like that, somebody people know, like Gary V Friends, right? Like super easy to understand. Basically, you buy one of those V Friends, you get the artwork itself, which could be valuable, as we know. Number one. Number two, you get admission to VCon for the next 3 years. So it's a ticket to that event for the next 3 years, right? That's programmed into the NFT. And in many cases, you also get another benefit, like a one-on-one, like 5-minute call with Gary V, or a live breakfast with him, or a consulting session with one of his advisors from his team. These things are directly tied to that NFT itself, just to really bring it to a real level, right? A lot of people know Gary Vee, and you think this is one way you can use it. So imagine anything any listener here, any viewer is passionate about, like the things, motorcycles, whatever. Like think of the influencers in that space and being able to actually like interact with them, go to like a really rad event that they're putting on in real life or virtually, you know, to get some memorabilia from that person. All this can be tied to that NFT, and it's completely immutable. You can't change it. Once it's listed in the blockchain, it's public, it's viewable, that commitment is made, and that value is programmed into it. That's what makes these things like so cool. And I don't know, we all really feel like getting at it from the perspective of passions, the thing that you really love the most is the best way to relate to it. Because I don't know, man, a lot of people don't care about, you know, video gaming necessarily, right? Like they might not care about, you know, gaming. And so it's hard to relate to hearing about Axie Infinity and how people are making a living playing this game, right? You may not be able to relate to that. But again, if you're super into like mountain biking or whatever,
poker,
like something, right? Yeah, poker, dude.
Poker.
Yeah,
you guys,
we
your
just
last episode, you guys had the poker NFT. Super cool.
Right? There you go. Perfect example of it, right? And so we always say, like, if you want to get into it and learn about it, like figure out that thing you're super passionate about and try to go deep. There's probably hundreds of YouTube videos about that one subject related to NFTs or the metaverse or Web3.
I'm curious, you know, what inning would you say we're in with this? Like, speaking of Gary Vee, right? He always talks about how he got in early with, you know, Facebook and Twitter and even Web1 when he did the wine library with his dad's liquor store. You know, right now in the crypto blockchain NFT space, where would you say we are for early investors, or is it even early investments at this point now?
We should do a poll. All of us should think about our answer.
I got mine.
Without groupthink. I'm going to say the beginning of the second inning.
I'm going to say, I think it doesn't seem that way to a lot of people. But if you think about the entire population of the planet, we're in preseason training. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we're little league. We're little league, man. We're just figuring out. We're figuring out how to. Man,
each of us goes further back.
It's so early. It's so early. Everybody is going to have a presence in the metaverse, 100% guaranteed, and it's built on the backbone of NFTs. That's it. It's here. It's already here. But we're just starting to get into it. Yatsu, the chairman of Animoca Brands, was talking about the other day. And he was like, yeah, there's like tens of millions of people in there in the metaverse already, like 10 to 20 million. Guess how many people on Earth, dude? It's like 7 billion, right? We're like 0.00, like 1 or whatever. Like it's so little, so few people actually in there doing anything right now. It is so early. And it's not just like from an investment perspective. Obviously there's investment opportunities, but just building a business in there, making a component of your business, if it's a IRL business, also in the metaverse. Like do something in there, figure it out, just mess around. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, you know, but this is the same spot we were in where it was like weird for a business to have a website, right? That existed, that time existed. It was like weird. Oh, cool. You got a website and you paid like $100,000 for it or whatever, you know, to have it built out. Awesome. You know, like everybody has one now. Isn't it weird that somebody would have a business and not actually have a web presence? The same is 100% going to be true for a metaverse presence.
I think we're actually finally getting to the point where there are people out there who like their first thing is that they need to make a website, and maybe they shouldn't. You know, I've literally seen that. And it's the same thing with internet and information. We're getting to the point now where there's information freely available for everywhere, but we're now reaching the breaking point where there's too much information, we can't sort through it. Right. But I think could go back to your last question, and I think this will be insightful for this question as well. NFTs, regardless of how we define them right now, they're a new technological invention, period. That's what they are. And what that means is you decide, right? There are so many ways in which people have to figure out what they want to do with this, because it opens up new doors. If you think about the invention of the printing press, how many new and interesting things have people done with book distribution ever since the invention of the printing press? I mean, we're still making digital books and now making books that meld audio and written word and all this stuff, right? So since the invention of the printing press, there's all sorts of things going on. You think about the wheel. We had a guy on our podcast, a previous podcast of mine, the Run With It podcast, where we interview, can't hardly think of it because Edge of NFT is like my 24/7, but the Run With It podcast, where we interview entrepreneurs. He invented a new type of wheel. We call it the shark wheel. And it was literally a wheel that had like a square kind of form factor to it. And it was mimicked after a shark bone, right? So just, think about what inning are we with the wheel? And we're not even finished with that game, right? There's still new innovations going on. What are you going to put it on? How are you going to make it go? You can put it on a Segway. Are you going to do this or that with it? So that's how I think people should be thinking about NFTs.
Why is there such a stigma in the media where people are no one ever does talk about the smart contract, the different events and everything that comes with the group? Why do you think it's because it's misunderstood? It's still so early that none of them are understanding. Why aren't more people drawing to the utility of the NFTs?
Yeah, it's super early still, guys. That's the thing, is a lack of understanding, a combination of things. A lack of true understanding is certainly a part of it. Conflict and kind of devil's advocacy kind of sells, right? So people want to, try to knock it down or whatever. It's interesting to folks to do things like that. There is a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, right? And so, people might want to throw some dirt on it because maybe they missed out. Maybe they feel like they were late to the training. They want to prove themselves right. Like, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, everyone's different as to why they take that stance. But I think we've demonstrated definitively time and again where there's real value being created on the back of this stuff. This is not like the 2017, 2018, crypto boom and bust that happened, where a ton of value was being created on pure speculation, right? There are real companies going from 0 to $100 million in revenue, like real revenue, in like 6 months in this space. That real revenue is being created. In many cases, it's being right away deployed back into the community, changing people's lives, either directly to the users of the technology, or being reinvested into companies like ours. We're building technology to drive like the podcasting industry forward on the foundation of NFTs and blockchain, right? Tons of investments being made in the space. That's a beautiful thing. And that's very different than what we saw in that 2017, 2018 cycle.
Are any of you guys doing, or have you done an NFT drop yet?
As a matter of fact, we're putting on NFTLA, which we're super stoked about, and hope you can join us there. And we've got so much demand for this. We just had to raise the price of our VIP tickets. I went from $1,500 to $2,500. Incredible VIP experience plan. There's a dome show with Scott Page, saxophone player from Pink Floyd, as part of all this. VIP experience, all sorts of private access to cool stuff, and more above and beyond what you expect at a typical conference for VIP. That having been said, nobody's really acting on this. I think it's because for NFTLA, we get more income if we get our tickets sold that way. But it's my job to promote the Spirit Seed NFTs. Spirit Seed NFTs is our first NFT drop. There's only 100. Okay. And if you get one of those, you also get a VIP pass to NFTLA. If you were to buy one right now, you would pay less than $1,500 for just that Spirit Seed NFT, and you would get the VIP pass. Wow. So you basically get it cheaper than someone on the regular market for like 2/3 the cost.
Not only
but
that,
you also, you offset your carbon for a year. You get a Living Tree NFT, which is the follow-up NFT that's going to give you all kinds of co-creation rights related to our podcast. You'll be able to co-create our podcasts with us. Think of it like from the perspective, like, community voting for a lot of the stuff that we do.
Take notes.
Dude, the artwork itself is done by Nicole Buffett, an amazing artist whose Spirit Coins, a very similar project, who
Oh, we have to be clear. We have to be clear because
artwork.
somebody got confused with it. The artwork for our project is my artwork, but it's inspired by Nicole Buffett. And
Exactly.
Nicole Buffett's artwork can be sort of won by having one of these spirit seeds. You get a 1 in 10 chance of earning one of her Spirit Coin NFTs. Those things are traded. Some people have them on the market for 55 ETH.
Oh, wow.
Oh, 55 ETH, holy shit.
So yeah, I think, you know, the key here though is if you do decide to be a Spirit Seed holder, drop us a DM on Twitter at Edge of NFT to let us know, so that we can also add you to our secret Spirit Seed newsletter as well. And you know, we like to hook up our Spirit Seed holders. They're our homies. They're our OGs. And so
Yeah.
you know, some Spirit Seed holders have gotten consultations with Nicole Buffett. Some of them have gotten shout outs on the show. So you never know what we'll do for you if you're a Spirit Seed holder.
Yeah, I love that. I want to talk
By
about.
the way, guys, sorry, I have to interrupt you because we said all that. We have to say spiritseeds.xyz. We can't say all that without telling people where they can
That's the
find it.
website where they can find it.
Yeah,
spiritseeds.xyz. We'll put it right here on the screen so people can see it as well. We'll put it in the info
description
down below.
Got
yeah.
you.
But before we dive into NFTLA, which I'm hyped to talk about, if I was doing an NFT drop, you know, working towards one the next couple months, what would you say are some of the main focuses that I should have based off of understanding the successful NFT drops that you've seen happen in the past?
I mean, you know, it's really hard in this industry to just jump in, create an NFT, and expect it to pop. You know, I think the number one lesson for me is go down the rabbit hole, both in terms of the research you do, but also getting to know the community. You can do that virtually through Discord, through Twitter Spaces, through Clubhouse. But you also, you know, it helps to go to events, not to plug NFTLA too much, but being in the mix and getting to know the community, because there's a strong community undertone to everything that happens in the space. And, you know, if you want to rely on sort of folks that are more Web 2, if you will, that aren't familiar with this technology, you're missing a huge swath of the market of people that really like to support each other. So I think build a community with intention, and be part of the community with intention, you know, before you go off and start launching an NFT project. That's my sort of lesson number one.
Yeah.
The community, your own community, if you can bring your own community, right, to double down on that point. But there's the technological side of it, and understanding what your choices are, you know, around that piece of the equation as well. Again, a lot of this can be learned for free just on YouTube, poking around or whatever, going to any of the websites of the projects that, you know, Josh mentioned earlier in the show, places like Polygon or Solana, and seeing how people are launching NFT projects within these on these platforms, because they want you to succeed, right? Like they're building a platform for you to build upon, right? So you can reach out to them. Members of those communities will help you out. Members of those teams will directly help you out. In many cases, they'll fund you. They have grant programs left and right. They have investment programs left and right. As I mentioned earlier, companies are going from 0 to 100 million in revenue super quickly, and they're reinvesting that right away back into the community, into their platform. This is one of the ways that they do it. So figuring out the technology side of it, poking around, learning about it, reaching out to members of the teams. It's a community element of this thing, right? That has a very specific purpose, and that's to understand what your technological choices are, and you know, do your best to try to make a good call, make a good choice, and, you know, bring something forward that is right for your community. And every community is a little bit different.
Yeah. What would you suggest in terms of building community? You know, is it influencer marketing, getting some influencers to help push the Discord of your NFT, or is it making really hype promo? I saw an NFT, I forget the name that we looked at the other day, but they had some really cool promotional videos with graphics that they started on their Twitter, and that's all of a sudden started getting a bunch of retweets, and that's what got the hype around it. But in terms of, say, we got the utility is great. We have some really good images. So we're sitting on these two good things, but we're not Steve Aoki. You know, we don't have a fan base. How, you know, besides just, hey, start a Discord and get it, like, how do you get that community? How do you build it? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a grind. Nothing comes easy in life. You know, those serendipitous moments where Paris Hilton follows your project, like which happened to Gigi, who we just interviewed, they don't come you know, spontaneously. She'd been, you know, being an advocate for women in blockchain and working on her community for months and everywhere. And then all of a sudden this happens, right? So I think, you know, influencers are meaniful. If they
So
have
you know, like Paris, if you don't know, Paris Hilton's a major influencer within the NFT space. Like she's for all of her you know, social media and paparazzi stuff, right? Like she's really become a force in space.
Speaking
Yeah,
her in the social media, that space, we actually had Tara Reid on the show last week, which was her best friend back in the day. In that light, they were that close. But no, I actually have seen that she's been very influential recently, which is badass. Yeah.
And she's checking on projects, and so is Cosmo, and all these people are looking around and sort of so you know, those things come and they help, and they're boosters, they're nitro boosters for sure. But they're not sustainable. Just like, you know, when you're a startup and, you know, hiring a PR company in the earliest days doesn't always make sense, because you get this artificial lift, but then it goes away if you don't have real communities. So I think you can use those, and those should be in your arsenal, but you also have to just sort of build real community and you know, just like Dale Carnegie style, you know, I really believe, and we believe in the ethos of trying to give more value than we get, and good things happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and Ethan knows. I mean, Ethan, speak on like the evolution of like our Discord, you know, and the engagement we're seeing with the numbers that we have right now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, fully honest, I think all three of us and many people on our team were like, oh, Discord, another thing to figure out.
Yeah, we've heard that. Yeah.
And we started to build our Discord, and I think probably, you know, not only we're super busy and we've got all this other social media stuff to do and emails to check up on, WhatsApp messages going on, and oh yeah, Telegram and this and that. It just kind of felt like, okay, somebody else is going to build our Discord, you know. And a few weeks, you know, I think it was a couple of months ago at this point, right? I said, all right, I'm going to sit in there. I'm just going to be in there, right? And I'm going to like actively try to move things along and engage with people and meet people and do some things to, you know, just to kind of reward people for getting involved and conversing and be a part of things. And I think that combined with us adding some new folks to the mix around that time, although I think we actually started to add people a little bit after that. In terms of promotionally, yeah, just kind of getting in there and getting to know people. And I think, you know, you guys have a great advantage. You have a program, right? I mean, we have a show, we have a podcast. I mean, think about somebody trying to start an NFT collection where they're just pretending they're going to make a video game one day out of this thing. You know, like if that happens, I'm pretty positive, right? So, oh yeah, we'll just say we're going to make a metaverse, so we're going to make a video game, and we'll have some fun art. We have something that a community can rally around. They can have listened to our episodes. They can comment on it. They can, you know, ask questions about it. They can give their sort of insights and ideas about what's going on. And so, you know, and rewarding that, right? And having those conversations with those people. And so that, I think that really helped our building our Discord, in addition to some gamification of it, you know, because I think people want to have fun with all of this. And you said
when we just jumped on, you were doing a trivia night on the Discord. Is that correct?
Yeah. Trivia night's going on right now. And luckily we got a few people jumped in here, but there's awesome. One guy who was going to win the entire day. Actually giving away ETH in there for you guys
are giving away ETH in your Discord for
ETH
trivia night.
Discord trivia night.
That's awesome. What's the Discord?
edgeofnft.com/Discord. Every Tuesday night we do a trivia night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we're given, at least for the last few weeks, we give away 0.02 ETH, which is usually like 50 to 60 bucks for first place. And then second and third place get 0.01, which is like 25 to 30 bucks, depending on the price of ETH. And then we give a POAP NFT as well. And the POAPs, again, is like a nice incentive for showing appreciation for people being involved. For people who don't know, it's a proof of attendance protocol NFT. They're actually inexpensive to mint and create as long as you have some artistic and some little bit of technical skill. But people really appreciate it, and it really rewards them. Like, it's, you were here, you participated, and you're the only one that gets that. And then you can attach that to various things. So for example, we've given shout outs on the podcast recently. Well, how do I decide who we're going to give a shout out to? Well, let me just see who's got the POAP, right? Because those are the people that were engaged and cared to get involved, you know?
I love that. I think that answers the question I had earlier, was how do you build that community? It's one, you know, finding the pieces, like having the poker game and other pieces where you can involve community, but then you're actually awarding your community and paying attention to it. There's no, I guess at the end of the day, for our viewers who are watching that, you know, are looking from the outside into the NFT space and being like, oh, I could do this. It's like any other business at the end of the day. It's like, you really have to jump into the dirt, make a mess, and really put the work in to make something successful. And that's something that's going to be a long-term thing. And I want to jump into it because I'm super excited about this. NFTLA, you guys are putting this on. I just looked at the speaker list the other day. I mean, Mark Cuban. I mean, that's game over right there. But then you know, Steve Aoki, who you had on the show, Nicole Buffett, who you were speaking of earlier. One of my favorite basketball players back in the day, Baron Davis. Let's go. And then my favorite entrepreneur that I watch his show on a daily basis, Tom Bilyeu. You have coming to speak there. So I'm hyped on it. I think it's going to be an incredible event. How did it come together?
We have been to so many different events over the years, and in particular the last several years, crypto events, and they all serve a purpose, right? And most of them have dozens and dozens and dozens of talks. In most cases, it's like a couple hundred talks across 5 different stages in this really massive way, right?
Yeah.
And you have tons of choice, right? You have tons of opportunity here. You know, again, literally hundreds of people talk, right? But we've always found for us that we kind of leave there a little bit frazzled, you know, like maybe we didn't quite know this was going on or that was going on, pulled maybe a little bit into too many different directions. You run into that paradox of choice where you don't know which one to go to because there's, again, so many to choose from. And I'd personally experienced an event out in LA called the Upfront Summit, where there was one main stage, and it's put on by Upfront Ventures. It's a invite only kind of venture capital conference that brings people together to inspire connections and curiosity and to elevate people in big ways. And man, being there with everybody experiencing the same thing at one main stage, you kind of brought along this journey as an attendee. It's almost like someone's telling you a story. You know, there's this inciting incident and there's these plot points and they're bringing you through, and it's in LA, and there's this like really rad entertainment component to each and every transition that happens throughout the day. And it's like, leave that thing feeling really, really good. Like you just got a ton of value for your time over the course of a couple of days. And we said, you know, this is something that we just haven't really seen in the crypto space. And we knew we wanted something with NFTs. Of course, this is the world that we live and breathe right now and have for a long time. So we said, let's start there with this idea that we bring people along for this special journey where they have shared memories that leads to connection, that feeds curiosity, that inspires co-creation. And that was the vision, that was the jumping off point for crafting this amazing event that's come together in a really big way.
It lands around a year since you started the podcast at Edge of NFT too, right?
Literally we didn't so there's a few things we didn't realize. One, the first time we scheduled it was for actually yesterday, 2/2/2/2/2/2 or 2/2/2/2/2 or something. I always forget how many twos, but it was the 22nd of February 2022, right?
That's today, bro. No,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
today.
that's today.
That's today. That is
That's
right
today.
now.
Today, the recording of this session was when
Exactly,
we would have
yeah.
had the first day of the first. We postponed it just to be safe about COVID and everything, which is an incredible decision. Tough at the time, but really makes sense at this point. But yeah, we didn't realize as well as we scheduled the next one for the 28th to the 30th, and we extended to the 31st. And then I was looking back on our podcast history, and we're talking about March, right? March 28th to the 31st. So
Yeah.
our very first podcast episode was the 29th of March 2021. And the second day of our event will be the 29th of March 2022. And I mean, I can't even believe that when I say it out loud. You know, I can't
It's meant to
believe
be, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. So just to give a little overview of it, I mean, so basically folks show up on the 28th. We're going to have a really amazing VIP reception for our VIPs, a kick-ass welcome party that you're not going to want to miss. Like, putting a ton of attention on this thing. So think block party, right? Think just kick-ass block party.
Yeah.
So that's on the 28th, Monday. On the 29th, on Tuesday, we're going to get people over to that conference. And again, main stage, killer talks. You mentioned it, the Mark Cubans, the Stevie Aoki's, like these guys coming in on the main stage, everybody together under one roof, experiencing this. Again, it's LA, so you're not going to want to leave that main stage. There's going to be some really sick entertainment components tying in. We can't announce stuff. You just got to be there to experience it. And there'll be killer talks, but also we're going to have an entire expo hall where in these defined breaks, you'll have an opportunity to get out there and see these amazing projects that are joining us. All kinds of surprises throughout the venue as well to explore art, different installations, metaverse components, really neat stuff throughout the day. Then you head into Wednesday, the 29th, Wednesday, the 30th. Let me get this stuff straight. 28th, you arrive. The 29th, you get that first day of talks on the main stage. The 30th, Wednesday, we have breakout sessions for the first part of the day, 6 different tracks. You'll be able to dive in and really get focused on the topics at hand that you're most interested in. You'll be able to attend 6, 7, 8 breakout sessions for that particular track. It's going to be really cool. Again, some choice throughout that day, but we're keeping it really dialed in to help bring people along for this journey. As we said, we'll close that day with some keynotes and then head into day 3, the 31st, on Thursday. And that's going to be main stage again, real focus on everybody under one roof, connecting, being driven to co-create together, inspiring, fulfillment of curiosity, and again, kick-ass entertainment moments, some wow moments that you're not going to want to miss. Each day will be capped off with a nice happy hour to bring people together. And of course, as you can imagine, it's conferences, it's crypto, so there's going to be some pretty sick after parties as well each night. But
man, that sounds incredible. It sounds incredible. So everyone can go to NFTLA.live. Is that the website?
Yeah.
To buy tickets. And
Yeah.
it's March 28th to March 31st, correct?
Yep. And I got to say, like, this is one of those events where going VIP probably is not a decision you'll regret. So there's like, there's
you guys have been putting experience. I mean, as entrepreneurs, you guys have been putting experiences on for people for years.
Yeah, combined, we've put on over 120,000 plus people events over the last decade. So we're directing all of that experience and attention with an amplified team, man, to just make this thing special. I mean, this is our first one, right? Of NFTLA. This is the first NFTLA, but it's not the last, right? And it's not one you're going to want to either.
No, well, I mean, I think, and when you were saying there's going to be all these surprises, I honestly can bet that it's going to be incredible, and it's only setting the foundation for 2023, 2024, and people who don't go this year are going to regret it, but they're most likely going to buy tickets next year.
We're talking to a variety of companies that are getting into the mix, and the type of companies and the news that they're going to drop at this event, it's gonna be multiple press-worthy occasions every day. So I'm personally excited to see how people react to some of the sort of alpha that these companies are sharing about what they're going to sort of present on stage. It's going to be really exciting.
It's just about giving value, man. We want to give value back to the community and make sure we're giving more than we get.
Yeah, I love that. And that's business 101, and that's the most successful ventures.
And that's what's going to make a successful NFT, baby. You got that
Exactly.
utility. It ain't a scam.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, I know you guys got to go. Last question. Normally, we ask our guests if there was an autobiography written about them today, what would the name of it be? But we're going to flip it just a little bit.
Hit 'em with it.
We're going to go a little out of the box because this is a special episode for us. If you had an NFT drop based off of you as an individual, what would it be called?
So for each of us, or for
each of you.
Each of you.
Yeah.
That's good, man. No, I just call mine now, man. That's my word.
That's a
You'll
good
see it if you watch our videos, man. It's up on my wall, always in the videos, man. Now is my it's an inspiration. It's a call to action, right, for me. So to be focused on the present and not the past or the future, and also to take action, man, and not hesitate, right, to get after it, right. So it'd be the now NFT, and it'd be built around inspiring people to get out there and take action on their dreams, whatever that may be.
I love that. That's great.
Jeff,
That's great for our younger listeners too. That's
Jeff
amazing.
and I have been business partners for almost, or if not over, a decade, and I was looking at my my wall in front of me, and so mine's kind of similar. Oh wait, I have to. Well, you guys can't see this because of my background, but it's a start sort of start symbol, and I think in the same way, like I just think it's all about action and moving forward in life and in pursuing your dreams. I think there's prosperity and possibility for everyone. It's just like, what do you want to do? When we bring people into the Edge of company, I was inspired by the former CEO of Priceline. It's all about what are your dreams and how can I make them come through? And if at some point in one's progress with one company, their dreams lead them in another direction, it's great. Let us help you pursue your next set of dreams. But while we're in your orbit, let's just crush it together.
Love that.
Nice. Yeah, it has a lot of things that came up for me, but I think the most recent thing is a good sum of what it would be. So if it was a title for the NFT collection, I'd make it Creator Economy. And I think that's because I thought about a lot of things along the way about how I've lived my life like way outside of the box. Like nobody's ever defined me by anything I've done, and it's frustrating sometimes for me and everyone else. But I've always realized that that's possible. Like you don't have to do things just because somebody else said that's the way it's got to be. You can live in your own life and forge your own path. And what I'm really excited, and we being in the NFT space has really reinforced this. I've always been, since I first heard about it, excited about the creator economy, and that, robots are going to take our jobs. That's fine. What do we have as human beings that's left after robots take our jobs? And it's our ingenuity, it's our creativity, it's the beauty and imagination that we can add to. So, so I'd make my collection the creator economy collection signature. Collection.
That was deep. I love
That
that.
was super
all three.
powerful.
We went across the whole spectrum right there.
I know, man. I thought when Jeff started, I thought he was going to set this stand. No one was going to reach that, but that was incredible. You guys are amazing. Dude, Jeff Kelly, Josh Krieger, Ethan Janney, Edge of NFT. If you've never listened to it before, go listen to that podcast. If you want to get in at the beginning knowledge
We're early,
of NFTs,
baby.
Or if you want to dive deep, they have it all. It's right there at your access, whatever platform you listen to podcast on, they have it. The NFTLA event, March 28th to March 31st. Buy your ticket, NFTLA.live. Go there. Guys, Edge of NFT, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Hey guys, I know we got kicked out of the bar. They called last call, but we're back. And I just want to let you know we appreciate you guys so much. Our fan base means everything to us. So if you can, hit the like button, subscribe right here, and hit us up on Instagram, socials, everything. Lobster and Beer TV. We love you. We will see you on the next episode. Peace.